Husband doesn't respect my physical boundaries. My husband is always grabbing, rubbing my boobs or reaching between my legs. I don't like it and I've told him as much several times. He says it's because we don't have sex enough, which admittedly we've been having very little recently, but I don't think that's relevant. If I tell him not to touch certain parts of me because I don't like it, I think he should respect that no matter what. I'm not sure how to move forward and quash this issue, but I can't keep dealing with this behavior every day. It's honestly exhausting. Our other issue is that he is constantly bringing up, pushing for sex, upwards of 15 times a day, which makes me want sex even less. Anyone else have similar issues and advice on improving the situation? I don't want to end up in a DB, but his actions are really perpetuating our current sex life. Let me tell you, I genuinely thought I was asexual when I was with a guy that was constantly grabbing, groping, and asking for sex. I tried but the sex wasn't that great and he was really unwillingly to do anything different, so our sex life dwindled to once a year, no joke. I thought I needed a sex therapist, or maybe I just didn't like sex and there was something wrong with me. My current husband and I have sex daily. Happily, enthusiastically. It's a perfectly normal response to having your boundaries violated to not want sex. You are not weird for this. Have you told him that the way he's treating you mskes you feel like an inanimate sex toy? That him harassing you all the time is putting you into a state of anxiety that could put you off sex forever? Is he aware that happens? If he doesn't want to listen, I would suggest therapy. How do some guys go through life never learning that creepy and desperate behavior decreases your chances of having satisfying sex? He's acting like a 14-year-old virgin and you need to have a frank discussion with him about his immaturity. He's treating you like an object, not a human being. My guess is he's watching lots and lots of porn and it's warped his brain. Grab his privates hard enough to be uncomfortable every time he touches you sexually without your permission. Words aren't working for you. I would also say, stop objectifying me, I'm a human being, not your sex toy. I would also recommend helping him to reframe his actions. Start calling him a creep when he does it. My partner used to do that too. It took me a decent amount of mental work, but I was able to calmly sit him down and explain that it made me feel disrespected, like I wasn't allowed bodily autonomy and that I really didn't enjoy it. I told him that it was negatively affecting our relationship and our sex life. He listened and hasn't grabbed those body parts without express invitation since. Could you do something similar? Lack of sex isn't an excuse for your husband to sexuality assault you and harass you for sex. I honestly don't have any advice besides this is squarely in divorce territory. You can't fix someone who thinks you owe them your body and sex. Get a squirt bottle. Squirt him every time he does it. My ex used to do this to me, it felt so violating. I really had to explain to him that just because I was his girlfriend, it didn't mean I lost the right to having my boundaries respected. Every time he came near me, I'd end up with rumpled clothing, having to fix my shirt and pull my pants up. It made me hate him. My girlfriend's prank. So little background: we've been dating like 2 months, and we still haven't slept together because some guy she dated dumped her after they had sex, so she developed trust issues. Okay, I respect that, plus I really like her, so no problem. So one day we texted and she tells me she have pregnancy symptoms, she feels sick, threw up a few times, she haven't had her period, and she did pregnancy test and she is pregnant. So at the moment I was in shock. At first I was like, okay, are you sure, blah blah. I thought it was before we've started dating, it was one night stand, blah blah. No mamter, I was processing the whole thing, but it wouldn't have actually been a problem for me. But then she said it was 2 weeks after we started dating that she slept with some dude. I asked, you cheated on me? She said yes. At the moment I've stopped the conversation, pissed as fuck, and basically started crying. Basically we weren't going out that long, but I don't know. Few messages later she said she saw I wasn't replying, or anything, she called, and told me she was pranking me. And her friend texted me as well, saying it was a little prank. She laughed it off. I pretended to laugh for some reason as well, I don't know why. But I couldn't look her the same way again now. So good people of Reddit, as I was never in situation like this. I mean, cheated on, yes, but never situation like this. Can you guys give me some advices what to do? I kinda lost my trust towards her. Also, sorry for mistakes, English is not my native language. Pranks are supposed to be funny to both parties involved. You cried. What she did was cruel as fuck. Can you guys give me some advices what to do? I kinda lost my trust towards her. I wouldn't continue this relationship. If this is how she behaves after 2 months, it'll just get worse. Much worse. Yeah, no, that wasn't a prank or a joke. It was just vile and uncalled for. I could never be with someone like that. And you already said you've lost trust in her, rightfully so. And without trust there is no chance that you two can have a happy and healthy relationship. That is a very shitty thing to do. Your girlfriend is an idiot. Some pranks are okay. This is beyond not cool. Honestly, I'd be reluctant to stay with her after this. Don't mess with her. If she is like this, if you try to stay with her you will end up with trust issues. If she truly had trust issues she wouldn't have made a joke like that, or she does have trust issues and she want to make someone pay for how she was treated anyways. It wasn't right. Things like this will keep happening. She wants to make you jealous. She might have others she is pranking like that. She might tell another she cheated on them with you, and then you might have a pissed off person on your front step ready to do something stupid that can be a dangerous joke to the wrong person. I would stay away from her, move on and find someone that respects you. Don't stay until you lose respect for others. I would question whether this was really a prank. At the very least, it sounds like you were being tested. For me this is a deal-breaker. What she did was very cruel and not a prank. Pranks are supposed to be fun. I'm not sure what the ages are here, as you're not mentioning that. That being said, this is a series of giant red flags. Screwing with someone's emotions is not funny. It's traumatizing. It'll lead to mistrust. Do yourself a favor, date people that are more emotionally aware. Tell her, if you thought that was funny, we're not at all compatible. Have a nice life. The guy I'm seeing's roommate waits on him and he pays her bills. Been casually dating this guy for like 4 months, nothing serious. I date other people. So does he. We enjoy each other's company but want to take it slow, but I have run into a peculiar situation. He is super nice, but his roommate basically waits on him and in return she doesn't pay rent and he pays for her car, like decent car, insurance and phone. She is a nice person. I like her, but she basically spoils him and it's kind of fucking weird. And I think this might be the whole, why he's single, moment. I was at his house and she made us lunch and then he would just kind of be like, hey, can you grab us some drinks? We're in the middle of the movie. She seems happy to do it. I asked him and said she is basically a good friend of his who was in a bad spot and he was looking for a housekeeper and so they helped each other out. However, that was 3 years ago. They just decoded the arrangement was working, so she is kind of like his personal assistant. He says she also tells him no, and that he helps her out too, so it's not like contractual or that he has some kind of power dynamic. She has plenty of money she's saved, works full-time, since being there. She is asexual, child-free and not super social and she just enjoys taking care of the home. She says she enjoys being a domestic goddess with a ton of extra cash. She also decorates the place, runs errands and makes sure his bills are all paid, so she has access to his finances. I am not sure if this situation is a major red flag or absolutely brilliant, but like, damn, I don't know what to think about this and if maybe just stepping away is better here. Sounds like she's his live-in maid. Like he struck a deal with her that if she'll do all this stuff, he'll cover her rent. If you're not getting romantic vibes between them, and it looks like you're not, then while unusual, I don't see anything wrong with this. It's weird, but if we are being honest, I give anything for this kind of arrangement. It's a little weird, but I've had asexual friends who ended up in dynamics that were similar to relationships but not sexual or even particularly emotional. It's more like companionship or friendship. I also know people who have roommates who pay through chores and cleaning rather than rent because they're broke, so it doesn't seem that crazy. If they're perfectly capable of being civil and they're merely platonic flat mates, then yeah. But these things require a maturity most people don't have, so yeah, I'd be wary. It's certainly unusual, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I can see it working. If she was going to have to be cleaning a place for herself anyway, might as well get paid. And if he either really hates doing chores, or was going to pay someone to clean anyway, might as well pay this friend. I think the biggest thing is to figure out how this will work in your future together should you continue dating and move in together. Is he going to expect you to take up all the chores? Or hell, maybe she'll continue living with you guys. Probably worth a conversation if it's serious. If they were a couple he wouldn't have brought you home. It sounds like a good deal for her. She gets to save money on rent, live in a nice place with a nice guy that's not after her. You said she's asexual, and the security of not living alone. He gets to have things taken care of for him in a place he's paying rent for anyway, so it's not costing him anything. My sister had a male roommate for 20 years and nothing happened between them. I wouldn't worry. Looks like they're on the up and up. This is an odd arrangement, but if it works for them, I guess it could essentially be framed as him having live-in help, which isn't unheard of. What would concern me a bit is that they don't have any sort of formal agreement and also have a non-professional relationship. It's so important for there to be clear boundaries with this sort of situation, and I would absolutely keep an eye on that. Most people would be weirded out by this, to say the least. What's his long-term plan if he gets serious with someone? Does he intend to keep this arrangement going, or would he give her notice to find another place if, say, he lived with a girlfriend? Sounds like a healthy dynamic and a good deal to me. Since my husband and I stopped being intimate, this is almost my life rolling on the floor laughing OMG WTF. He doesn't date though, lol. Honestly, he could if he wanted to though, I don't care. Husband grabbed me and threw me onto the bed. We have been together for 9 years, married for 7. We have a 3-year-old and now a 5-month-old. I've been back at work since January and we are both exhausted and sleep deprived. I breastfeed, so I have been the sole parent who wakes up multiple times a night to feed and console our baby. The other night I was looking for my OTC sleep aid and could not find it, so I asked him where it was. It was about midnight and he went off on me about how I should not have woken him up, how he has a big day tomorrow and he can't believe I would do such a thing. He just kept railing into me about it. So I admit I was getting loud and I said I'm not sorry because I have been the only parent who is tending to the kids every night, and I also work full time and also have days where I have a lot going on and would benefit from sleep but don't get it. We continued to argue and I got up and turned on the lights and slammed my fists on the dresser out of anger. He then got up and lunged at me, grabbed me by the arm and neck and forcibly threw me onto the bed. I could see the anger in his eyes and I was left completely shocked. He's never gotten physical before. It was the first time I ever felt unsafe in his presence. I just said, "You hit me," and he said, "I just grabbed you. I slept on the couch because I was afraid." He apologized in the morning and told me he feels ashamed and can't believe he did that. It's been 2 days, and I told him to keep his communication to me limited to the kids. I don't know what to do or how to feel. I am mostly sad and confused. I saw the anger in his eyes and truly believed he wanted to do more than what he did. I do believe he feels bad, but I grew up in an abusive household and I have seen this so many times, where the abuser apologizes and things get better for a while only to turn violent again. What confuses me is he really hasn't been violent before and we have been together for almost a decade. Can people turn violent when there isn't a history of it? I just don't know what to do or how to feel. I feel lost. Why are you the only parent getting up at night? Pump some milk in bottles and have him do baby duty too? If baby doesn't take a bottle, start figuring out what nipple works best. This shit where the mom works full time, does overnight duty and has to put up with an infantile husband is ridiculous. I have been the only parent who is tending to the kids every night and I also work full time. Oof, why? Just wondering. Why is he sleep deprived if you're the only one getting up at night? My dad wasn't generally physically abusive. He would get mad and yell, but I never saw him hit my mom. Until the day he grabbed her by the throat and tried to strangle her. They'd been married 10 years. I threw up. This distracted him long enough for her to get away, and after that night she was gone from that relationship. Separated right away, never went back. I don't know if he ever did anything like that with any of his other girlfriends or his second wife. I was out of the house by the time they married. I do know his wife goaded him into throwing my sister down the stairs. He only got physically violent those 2 times that I know of. But it was enough to scare the hell out of me, and almost enough to cost my mother her life. Therapy. You each need individual therapy and your marriage needs couples counseling. It's right to feel lost right now. It's a jarring experience and you have past exposure to abusive relationships, so I'm sure it was triggering. I would recommend that you keep sleeping separately until therapy has given you a chance to cope with what happened. If the 5-month-old has their own room, any chance you can put a twin bed in there for you? At least that will make it easier to get up in the night. Your husband is not a safe person for you to be around. That he was willing to do this at all, under any circumstances, is really telling. And what it tells me is that you need space from him, as he is currently no help whatsoever to you. I've seen that look in a man's eyes, too. I want to hurt you. You know what it means as well as I do, and you will never be able to unsee it. No matter how many times he apologizes, there are some things you just can't take back. I'm sorry. I wish you safety whatever you choose. I have been the only parent who is tending to the kids every night, and I also work full-time and also have days where I have a lot going on and would benefit from sleep but don't get it. So you work full-time and wake up at night? Is he a prince that needs beauty sleep and cannot wake up to help? You could pump and he could use a bottle to feed the baby, and midnight is pretty early. So in addition to not helping, he also mistreats you, pushes you around, and yells. He should get therapy. Maybe he has postpartum depression, which can also happen in men. If it happens again, though, you just leave. Has your husband also been taking sleeping pills? There have been reports of people having bad reactions to them, and doing things they wouldn't normally do.